Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well and happy 1st of July. Can you believe we're here, 1st of July, and we're halfway through the year? And, I was tuning in meditation. And since yesterday, I started to get all these downloads and all these emotions, when I started tuning into the collective field. My goodness, there was so much coming up. There's just so much heart healing happening right now. And we talked about this in the last video and from the solstice everything that's coming up in the heart right now for us to heal and to look at. I'm going to quickly run through the themes of this time and the July energy. And July is going to ask us to do, I talked about slowing down to speed up. That's one of the themes, slowing down to speed up. You have to slow down to speed up because you need time to reflect and, some introspection this month as well about situations in your life. To then speed up and go forward. So there's two energies right now, the slowing down and the speeding up. So you're going to feel this fast pace of July taking us forward into our projects and, very masculine doing energy. But there's also this pull that I'm feeling at the beginning of the month where we're needing time to sit with ourselves, to process situations in our life, clean them up within us, and then move forward into the next phase. So there's a lot of sadness coming up. There's a lot of looking at relationships, looking back at the past, trying to understand our relationships. Relationships is the big theme right now. And it's the theme of this year, how we relate, because if we are going to move into these new vibrations of moving into deeper connections, more vulnerability, more truth, more honesty, we have to look at the relationships that have not worked in our lives. The dynamics that we've played out, the imbalance in relationships, the masculine and feminine. Right now, we are healing and letting go of toxic relationships, controlling relationships, relationships where you felt manipulated, where there was deception, betrayal, heartbreak, loss and grief, and where you were not respected in relationships, where your voice was not heard, or where you felt misunderstood and taken advantage of, where someone was wearing a mask and they deceived you and they played a role, but you saw through the true self of that soul. Because the solstice did that, it showed us the truth of situations. So there's so much coming up. I'm actually going to read from my page what I wrote down and what was coming up in meditation. And then we'll go into the cards and I'll just try and break it down for you just to give you the themes. So that gives you something to focus on, to go and look at, to, connect with yourself and see what's coming up for you, because this is a collective message and it will be a collective theme. And I was feeling it all. So today I was feeling it all, and I was like, okay, am I going to get on to record this message? And I needed to come on today to record the message. But there was a lot of mixed energies. A lot of mixed energies. So we're looking at the past, we're reflecting, we're feeling the hurt, we're feeling the betrayal, we're feeling the relationships that didn't serve us, we're feeling where we overgave and it was not reciprocal, and where we depleted our energy. And that's a really important theme for now, where we are depleting our energy. And yet this energy is taking us forward, like this fast moving energy is coming into July, that there's so much to do and create and move forward, but there's this slowing down to speed up, slowing down to speed up. So just bear that in mind. I'm going to read what I've written. So we're leaving controlling relationships where we didn't feel that they were balanced. Narcissistic relationships, or people who attach themselves to our energy that were actually had an ulterior motive, or people who were not wanting us to be abundant, successful, not wanting us to shine our light. Maybe there was some envy and jealousy as well. So that it's come up. So, and the solstice energies would have helped you to see that clearer and clearly. And yet this dynamic would have played out again between the masculine and the feminine for you to see the red flags, to understand situations that you couldn't understand before, and then to cut the cords and move forward. Because, we are at this point where we are stepping into the new world and the new earth, and we cannot take that energy with us. So if there are souls who are attached onto our field, but they're not doing the work, they're not doing their inner work, then it drains your energy. If you're in a relationship that's imbalanced, and you're not respected, or you're overgiving in that connection, you're draining your energy. Because if you don't have healthy boundaries, then if you think about an iPhone, and you're running out of battery, and like I was on the plane coming back from Peru, and my charger was in my case. I've got to put it in my bag, and it was in my case, and my battery was really low, and I had to call a cab, when I got to the airport. And so I asked the man next to me, could I borrow his battery, or could I borrow his charger? And he had one of those power batteries, the portable ones, which I need to get. But he had a portable one, so I plugged in my phone into his portable battery. And so I'm charging off his portable battery, and his charge is going down. So he had 100% on there, but it started to go down and mine started to go up. So I want you to think about this scenario. And it's really important as we move forward through this time that we think about us as energy beings, and understanding when our energy is being depleted, the signs that you get when your energy is being depleted, and then what you're going to do about it. It's just so key. So, when there are not healthy boundaries in relationships, and when there's an imbalance and you're doing all the giving, you're like that battery. You're literally draining your energy. Your energy is being drained. I don't like to talk about it like this, but really we need to get to understand this on a very deep level, how energy works. You become that point of source and a generator for souls to then lift their vibrations. And sometimes souls who are needy, who are not willing to do the work, can attach onto your field and drain your energy without you realizing it. And you're just getting depleted. Your battery's going down, and they're sucking off your battery. They're taking your energy, and their energy is going up. And you can be in relationships where that is the case, but you have to start looking at where you're sacrificing your soul, where there isn't balance in your relationships, where you don't have any healthy boundaries. Boundaries is absolutely key for you to maintain your battery and your life force and your light. It's really important that you look after your battery and with healthy boundaries, and stop abandoning yourself as well. Because your gut would be telling you about the red flags. It would be telling you that the situation is not right. But very often we ignore it, we abandon ourselves, and then we still go ahead and play out the dynamic that we were playing into. And then afterwards we realize that it wasn't for us, it wasn't healthy for us. So think of the battery, and the power of the two batteries when they're both charged into one another. One is draining and the other one is getting powered up. So where in your relationships are you being drained, in your relationships where you don't have healthy boundaries, where the other person is not doing their inner work and they're just taking from you? This has come up for July, so it's something that we need to look at as a collective. So no more self-abandonment, seeing situations for what they are. So again, taking off the rose-colored glasses and seeing situations for the reality that they're showing us at this moment in time. Communicating your needs clearly. Communication is going to be really important in July. Expressing your needs in relationships. And if your needs and your voice is not heard, then it's something that needs to be addressed, because straight away it creates a toxic dynamic where there can be misunderstandings, where there can be a mountain can be built from a molehill, and things can get out of control. And when you're left confused, not knowing where you stand. So communication is absolutely key. And if the other person is not willing to communicate with you, then, you have to ask yourself going forward, how is this relationship going to thrive? How is it going to grow? If you don't know where you stand in the connection, and if you cannot be vulnerable in that connection, then it cannot grow. So we want to move into connections that are thriving, that have the space to grow, and not ones that are now imbalanced, toxic, and the dynamics are not serving you. So there's a whole revamp and reconfiguration happening with relationships in a big way. And we're in relationship with everything. I mean, we're in relationship with our mind, with our heart, with our body, with our work, with money, with the earth, with other people around us, with our community. how we show up on Instagram and social media. We are in relationship with the cosmos and source and Mother Earth. We are in constant relationship. We are relating all the time. The relationship between our masculine and our feminine. And this is the relationship that we really got to look at this time. The relationship between our masculine and the relationship between our feminine. I mean, I do such a powerful one-to-one session on this, where we go in and we look at the dynamics, because this is key. If we don't get this balance right within us, we're going to attract it on the outside. So just see what you're attracting, what you've been attracting in relationships, because Spirit is saying that it's time to close those chapters and move into a new space and a new beginning and a new dynamic that is going to serve you going forward. So communication. Someone is wearing a mask. Someone is wearing a mask. So you may be seeing souls that have been, befriending you, but they were wearing a mask. They were wearing a mask of the ego, where they were showing, like the shiny object I talked about in the last video, a shiny object that everything that glitters is not gold. That's what I was trying to remember. Everything that glitters is not gold. So just be very discerning. Discernment is a very important message for this time. Be very discerning about what you're looking at and what the reality is. So again, fantasy and reality, two different energies. Yes, we tune into fantasy and we bring the fantasy to earth, but sometimes we can get caught up, if you in your younger days, if you were living in your in escapism and in your fantasy world, and you kind of left your body when you were younger, then you'll have a pattern of doing that. So you'll see things as you'll project your fantasy on the situation, and it may delude you of what it actually is playing out. So, you have to take off the glasses and see it from a mature space, and a step back to see the dynamics of what's actually playing out. Is it fantasy? Are you seeing the situation? Are you projecting a reality, a potential that you see that could play out? And Spirit is kind of asking you to, no, you need to look at the situation now for what it's showing you, because there's something you need to learn from it. To go forward. Otherwise, you're going to repeat this cycle again. And then you stay in these karmic loops and they keep playing out in your life. So it's like really Spirit's saying, get clear, get closer to your heart, look at things very, very carefully. Are you escaping and using escapism and fantasy and living in your spirit world in the higher dimensions? But to ground this idea into the physical is not a possibility, or it may be quite an impossible task. And nothing's impossible. We can make the impossible possible, but it asks you to look at the reality of it right now, to look at the reality and see the truth of the situation. That's coming up so clearly through this time. Look at the truth of situations. Look at the truth of dynamics in relationships. Look at the truth of your commitment in relationships as well, because not just with other people, it could be a project. Like maybe you're here to write a book and you just can't get to it, like you can't commit to it, so this is the masculine and the feminine. The feminine has this creative ideas and she wants to birth it in the physical, but the masculine is not supporting her vision and is not taking the inspired action and not making the commitment to this project, which needs time, energy, love, effort, sitting down and creating and finding ways to express, and commitment. It needs commitment. So where is the masculine not supporting the feminine right now, for this to be anchored in the physical? So here's an idea in the ethers, heaven, and then there's earth. And we have to bring this to earth to plant the seed to make it a reality. And so right now, Spirit is saying this idea that you have, this thing that's been brewing in your visions, in your subconscious for quite a while. How are you going to bring this into the physical? How is the feminine and the masculine going to work together to anchor this into the soil of your heaven on earth and create this vision? So, the ideas are in the ethers. The masculine spirit is masculine and feminine is the earth, but we've got to plant the ideas into the earth, into the soil, and create. So into the womb, into our wombs, and then create. So lot coming up around that because it is summer and it is that time of bloom when the flowers are in bloom. So Spirit is asking you to look at that as well. Deception, inauthentic relationships, cut the cord. I have found that you will find this month, and what I was being shown in relationships is where the energy has been toxic, where there has been not a clear, authentic energy, we're cutting cords, we're needing to cut cords so that the energy can come back in a new way. So if you have found that the energy has been off, just find a way to release it. The old energy needs to be released right now so that the new energy can come in. It can be replaced by something. And again, it's remembering how energy flows. You know, if you have this container of energy and your energy is going to a source that is not serving you, you have to first take it back, alchemize it, and then take that energy and place it into something else. So we're having to cut cords of what's not serving us, what isn't really for us and for the health of our being. And then we're taking that energy by cutting the cords, alchemizing that energy, and then bringing that energy back and then using that to create something else. So look at really this month, look at the entirety of your field. Look at all of your relationships with your work, with your body, with your mind. The mind might be a bit overactive this month because there's a lot of overthinking right now. But we are looking at situations on a deeper level, trying to understand them and pick them apart, and trying to break them down to get to the crux of the issue so that we can understand it better and so that we can release the core wound. And that has been playing out in all of our relationships and throughout our life and past lives as well. So getting to the core, getting to the root of the issue. I talked about the energy drains and depleting your battery. So have a look at that, where you are depleting your battery. This asks you to have healthy boundaries going forward and creating healthy boundaries where you are respecting yourself. You're not self-sacrificing. You're not depleting yourself. We are here to give energy. We are here to give of ourselves. But there is this balance. This balance is really important. Through our giving, we learn about ourselves, we learn about our gifts, we learn about, we also become experts by sharing our gifts when we are sharing with others. But there has to be a little bit of a reciprocal energy, you're not just giving, 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 and you're depleted and on the floor and burnt out. But there has to be a receptivity as well of this connection and this co-creation with you and another, or with you and a project that you're on. So that your energy doesn't get depleted and you are able to recharge, regenerate yourself, so that you're consistently thriving through the expression and the sharing, rather than depleting, getting burnt out, then having to lift yourself up, getting burnt out, then having to lift yourself up. So you're playing this constant catch up with yourself, which now Spirit says, no, find a way that is more balanced. Not like this. We're not doing this anymore. We're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. So see and look into that. Attachment styles came up as well for this month to look at, and not just this month, through this time, your attachment styles, highlighting where you have been in attachment styles of over anxious. So, maybe you're in a connection and you need constant text from the other person to tell you that they love you or they're there for you. But when you are anxious and you're attached and very needy, it may push the other person away, and they are avoidant. So there's the avoidant attachment coming up and also the anxious attachment coming up. So that dynamic has come up. So where are you? What role do you play? Because we all have an attachment style, and it's to look at that in our dynamics with others. Are we overly attached? And we need that attachment. Why do we need that attachment? What insecurity does it bring up when they don't communicate with us? Or is the other person avoidant, or are we avoidant and we run from the connection every time it gets heavy, or it gets too demanding, or it asks too much of us, or it asks too many questions? Do we run from it or do they run from it because they can't go to that level of vulnerability? They feel suffocated and they run from the connection rather than approaching it and communicating. So that dynamic came up. Overly anxious and avoidant came up to look at for this month. Love or limerence came up. And I talked about that just now, about the fantasy and the reality. You know, are you escaping and creating and projecting a fantasy onto a situation, and where you're seeing the potential of what it could be? But Spirit is asking you to look at the reality of it and use your discernment to see actually what is playing out here. Because until you get a grip of what's actually playing out in your reality, only then can you alchemize it and change it and move it towards the fantasy. But if we're seeing things from the fantasy perspective, then we're not really addressing where we are at in the reality. And we can get ourselves in some deep water when we do that. So love or limerence, you know, is it lust? Is it obsession? Is it addiction? Is it temptation? Or is it genuinely love? To look at that dynamic at this time. This is really strong. I talked about this last month. Lust, it kept coming up in the cards. Lust, 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 temptation, addiction. Yeah, obsession. Those were coming up again. So it's a theme that is continuing on from last month. So walking away from controlling, toxic, manipulative, narcissistic relationships where there are mind games, where there is deceit, because trust has been an issue. Trust has been an energy that's come up very strongly through this time. You know, if we lose trust in relationship, we've lost the relationship. I think trust is something that we're really looking into right now, because when we don't trust in a connection, then we shut down our heart. We literally close down and we don't let anyone in. Our guard goes up, you know, our armor goes up, and it's like, stay away from me. And that's the masculine, the wounded masculine protecting the heart. But we are being called to now look at this, because where is trust being broken? You know, where were you not trusting yourself and listening to your intuition in a situation where you were picking up a signal and it was telling you your body is so clever, our body is so intelligent, it's always signaling to us. Very often we abandon our intelligence and our intellect and our intuition, and we, you know, listen to something outside of us. So trust. Do you trust yourself? Do you trust your faith? Do you trust your higher guidance? Do you trust? My voice is going, so communication again. Or where your trust has been broken, or where you have felt betrayed in relationships where trust has been broken. Can trust be, can trust return once it's been broken? Can your relationship be mended once that core trust has been broken? This is something that you have to ask yourselves. So if someone's played mind games with you, manipulated you, and been deceptive and deceitful, you know, that's the loss of trust. Can you then trust them again? What will it take to trust them again? So trust, trust, trust. Yeah, so strongly coming up. Souls who were friends with you just for your energy. Again, that goes back to the energy drains and the energy vampires and the, you know, taking your energy. Sometimes when you have a bright light, like star seeds, light workers who here who have a bright light, they do attract souls who just want to be with their friends just for their light, because they have an ulterior motive and they want to find out what's, you know, how does she do what she does, and but it's not really for you, it's not supportive of your energy, and they have an ulterior motive. So again, that also came out for this month to look at. I know these themes are not comfortable, and these themes are here because we're not meant to feel comfortable right now, because we're going through this change and we're moving to the higher dimensions and the higher vibrations. And so we are being made, forced to be feeling uncomfortable. And some of these topics are not comfortable to look at, but we have to look at them if we're going to alchemize the energy and change it into love, unconditional love, and supportive connections where there's no more ego, but they're just heart-centered, soul-centered, you know, soul-to-soul connections that are supportive, loving, where you can communicate your needs, where you are heard, you are respected, you are, understood and cared for, and your light is seen, but loved for who you are. That's what we want to get to, so that your heart can continue to open and you don't have to watch your back all the time. You can actually just trust in that space and be fully you, be yourself in that space. So again, another one. Let's have a look. Anyone who doesn't have your back, we just mentioned that. Lust, obsession, temptation, addiction, toxic power dynamics. We are moving away from toxic power dynamics because there's an imbalance. And when there's an imbalance of energy and also an imbalance of masculine and feminine. And then we're no longer in our power. So we have to look at these dynamics and seeing, well, where am I giving my power away? Where am I taking another person's power? Can I stand in my balance, in my power, and they stand in their power? And then we step forward. Like if two batteries are fully charged, they don't need anything from each other. This battery is not going to deplete this one, and this one's not going to deplete this one. They are fully charged in their own selves, whole and complete, in their power. And then they can thrive because they can give from a full cup to each other. So this is where we want to get to. This is where we want to get to. And this is what Spirit is asking you to look at now. How can you come back to your full power? By seeing the reality of situations and seeing things for what they truly are, so that you can get this balance right within yourselves, your own masculine and your own feminine, which is so key. It's everything. If our relationship between our masculine and our feminine, it's everything, right? So we're trying to heal the past, heal all the relationships that we've had with our masculine, or a masculine or a feminine, where we were, sabotaged or betrayed or hurt, or where we had our heart broken, where we were deceived, where we had the wool pulled over our eyes. We're having to look at all of those because that pain is coming up. It's coming up because the light is getting brighter and brighter, and everything from the deepest places is being lifted up for us to look at and then sit with it, process it, and then release it. So have a look at everything. Looking at energies that are reciprocal, listen to your inner guidance. Are your needs being met in relationship? What are your needs? We are being asked to look at our relationships and our dynamics, but also to understand ourselves on a deeper level. I mean, if we're moving towards happiness and joy, what does that mean for us? Like, where do we, what does happiness mean for us? Because it'd be different for everyone. Like if you were a traditionalist and you follow tradition and it left you unhappy, unmotivated, depleted and tired and disappointed, you're now looking at another dynamic and saying, well, that didn't quite work for me. I went down the traditional route and it didn't serve me because this happened. I need to look at and find my own happiness. Now, what does my happiness feel like? What does my happiness look like for me? Like, what do I need to do to feel fulfilled here on the human plane, doing something that's unique to me and that is aligned with my values and my heart and my truth and my inner authentic self, my soul? What is going to make me happy through this time? So we have to look at where our needs are not being met to understand what actually we want. And if we don't know what our needs are, then we're just going to kind of, sail through relationships and we won't get to that level of depth and that we want to get to, and the depth that is being called for us to step into through this time. Uncomfortable year of change to grow. Yes, we are being made uncomfortable. And the nervous system will feel very uncomfortable at times. And that's when you have to find moments to breathe and meditate and recalibrate and get back into your body. We're being pushed to a new vibration. So anywhere where things are not right, not aligned with our soul, we will be made to feel uncomfortable because the soul now is in the driving seat and the soul is speaking to us. And so we have to start listening in a new way, multidimensionally, to the whole of our body, mind, body, heart, soul, spirit. We are having to listen to the inner guidance, which means lots of moments of stillness, quiet, reflection, going within, and then stepping out with a new energy and a new dynamic and a new understanding and a perspective of where you're at. This month asks you to negotiate, get a fair and balanced outcome, strike the right balance. Again, balance, strike the right balance, strike the right balance, strike the right balance. Find your balance, find that balance, negotiate within yourself, negotiate with others, with the communication, negotiate. It might feel uncomfortable. There may be judgments, there may be words flying around, but get to this place of, okay, this is my truth, this is your truth. Can we live with that? Can we work with that? Can we find a balance? Can we strike a balance so that we can move forward in a harmonious and peaceful way? So, another theme, a lot of fire energy this month. And one of the cards that came out was this one, the Ace of Swords. So there's a lot of fire energy, a lot of forward movement. There may be a lot of anger and resentment coming up as well. So where you haven't forgiven someone for the past. And that's coming up, like you're getting this irritation. I felt that in the meditation, this irritation coming up, like you're looking at old dynamics and you're feeling irritated because there were things that you didn't say, or boundaries that you didn't set, or you allowed someone to walk all over you and you didn't, and you ignored the red flags. So that irritation is coming up, but that irritation is fire energy. And your role as a master here, as an alchemist, is to, okay, I'm feeling this irritation. What am I going to do with it? And I'm going to sit in this anger and let it burn me. Am I going to transmute it, understand the dynamic, and now turn this energy to focus on where I want to take this energy, not give my energy to the past anymore. Because if I stay stuck in that energy, I'm going to stay stuck in the story. When we're in a storm, when you're in a storm, and many are going to go through a storm, and we've all been through a storm, when you're in a storm, you're not looking at the storm and sitting in the storm saying, oh, I'm in a storm. Like I'm stuck in this storm and I'm just stuck here. Right? That's just giving up. What you do in that environment is your survival energy kicks in. It's like, okay, I've got to get myself out of this situation. I've got to get myself out of this storm. How am I going to do that? You may have to turn your boat around and go the opposite direction. You may have to go against the winds and just totally focus forward of where you're going to get to. So you're visualizing an island, you're visualizing still water, you're visualizing calm winds, you're visualizing your boat being in a safe environment, and you're focusing to get yourself out of that storm to a safe space. So you don't sit in the storm and think, okay, well, I'm going to give up now because it's just I'm in a storm. You focus on how you're going to get yourself out of the storm. And it's the same situation with life. If you find yourself in a challenging situation, it's like, okay, I'm in a challenging situation. How am I going to get myself out of this situation? I can sit in this energy and I can brew and I can stew and I can feel angry and I can sit and I can stew and I can feel angry and I can feel that for a while. Yes. But how long are you going to sit in that? At some point, you've got to say, okay, this is what I'm in, but I don't want to sit in this anymore. I'm going to change this. I'm going to alchemize this situation. How am I going to do this? I've got to move to now a new vibration where this is no longer in my reality and in my radar. I'm going to raise my vibration so that I am now then vibrating at a new frequency and I'm in peace and harmony, and the situation is no longer in my field and no longer affecting me. So this is what Spirit is asking you to do. What can you do with that energy of irritation and anger? How can you transmute it, transform it, and use it as power? Because it is that, it's powerful energy, life force energy that you can now use, again, using the container of your energy to create and get your ship moving in the right direction of where you want to go. So use that powerful irritation, anger to move forward, your fire energy to let go of the old, alchemize it, and also move towards what you want to create, face the direction that you want to go. And this is the year of understanding relationships, and money is coming up as well, very strongly. A couple of the cards I'll show you very quickly, but we've talked about them. This is the Five of Pentacles, but it's looking at relationships that you're kind of leaving behind. Maybe you've had to leave some toxic dynamics behind, or some relationships that didn't serve you, that were keeping you stuck, keeping you in lack consciousness, in poverty consciousness, and deceptive energies, and you saw the truth for what it was, and now you're choosing to move forward, and you're afraid, you're feeling the insecurities, you're not sure where you're going to go, but you have to leave the situation behind because it's not serving you. It's not serving you, and you've finally seen it for what it is. So it's walking away from the old energy and walking towards something new, but having faith in spirit that, your needs will be met, you'll be taken care of, and there is a silver lining on the other side, but you can't stay in the dynamic that you're in because it just hasn't served you. So this is what we're seeing at this time. We're seeing the dynamics and we're trying to understand situations for what they have shown us. And this was the other card, the Six of Cups facing down, the Six of Cups all facing down. Again, energy depletion, where are you leaking your energy? Where are you giving it away? Where are you losing your energy? Because there's so many opportunities coming in. Spirit wants this for you to have all these opportunities and options and timelines that you can create. But right now it's upside down, it's in reverse, which is saying that there is a leaking of energy, a depletion of energy where you may be attached to connections that are taking from you. Can you see what they are? Can you close down those cycles so that the energy can be transformed, transmuted, and turned into positive energy where you can now then look at your options and create in a new way? So look at that at the moment. Heart healing. So this is an opportunity for a new beginning, to open our hearts and to release what's there, what's the old hurts that are coming out, to have compassion with yourselves at this time. Lots of compassion with yourselves at this time as we are healing our hearts, and not to judge ourselves harshly, but to have compassion with what we've been through, to be proud of how far you've come and what you've overcome, and all the journeys you've been on to get to this place of understanding in your life. But can you start to open your heart to allow the healing and just be kind with yourself as you open to let go? So compassion is very important at this time for us. Spirit is wanting to bring in new opportunities, wanting to give us a gift, and there are gifts in our experiences. There's always a hidden blessing in our experiences. Can we see the hidden blessing from Spirit in the experience that you're going through? What did you learn? How did you grow? Who did you become? What wisdom did you gain from the experience? It's in the challenges that we find the light, not to get stuck in the story, but to see from a place of, okay, what did I learn? How did I grow? How can I alchemize this and see the gift of the situation and take the gift forward into my next adventure and into my next vibration? And the other card that came up was the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is sitting, this is about authentic leadership now. When we can reflect and see situations for what they are, what they taught us, we can sit in our power, or we can gain the wisdom from our experience, and we can sit as an authentic leader, knowing that we've done our processing, and others will see that as well, being an inspiration to others through your own journey, showing them authentic leadership, showing them what you've alchemized and what you've been through and how you've been through and how you move through your processes. They will see that in you. They will see you as a very balanced, strong leader, and they'll be inspired by you and your energy and by what you've, alchemized and your wisdom. You'll be attracting a lot of people at this time towards you, because if you are sitting in your authentic leadership as a balanced soul, you are very attractive right now, which is going to draw many people to you, because they are going to go through their own processes and they need souls that can have the energy of this new vibration, that have alchemized, that do stand in their power, that they are strong, and they are an inspiration to others. And you will be an inspiration to others, because they'll see it from you. They'll see it from your essence, from your light. It'll shine through you. Your radiance will shine through you when you are in a higher vibration and functioning from your heart and holding that energy of balance and peace. They will feel it from you. They will feel it so strongly from you. So let me check in if there's any more messages, but lots of different themes. So I want you to, if you can, go through these, just listen to the video again and write down the themes that were coming up, and then tune in and see what you need to look at and how it can connect to your own situations right now. So Spirit, is there anything else that I need to share? Tenderness, softness, more love for self. Love on yourselves this month, dear ones. Love on yourselves. Pamper yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. Care for yourselves. Sit down and see how far you've come always. See the blessing in the situations, but also see the gift and see how far you've come. It's only when we look back can we see how far we have come. So not to be hard on yourselves, but to be kind, because you are here learning about the soul and the human experience and about emotions. You may be learning about resentment and anger and unforgiving thoughts, and now you're learning about forgiveness and acceptance and peace, because these are the lighter vibrations. And you're moving into the subtler, lighter vibrations, but you have to understand the darkness to transmute it into light. And this is what you came here to do at Earth School. You came here to do this work and become the alchemists, the masters of your experience and the masters of your emotions and the masters of your thoughts. You are masters in truth, and you are reclaiming your sovereignty and transmuting the darkness to light. So have compassion with the work that you are doing here. Have compassion with your soul's journey and the human story and the stories that you've chosen to experience here at Earth School. But remember, you are the alchemist, and you can transmute, transform, alchemize, and move into the higher vibrations. And at this time, we are supporting you so deeply, preparing you, assisting you, and wanting you to see the truth so that you can alchemize, transform it into light. So gentle kindness, compassion, and love with self as you move through this time of uncomfortable change, but all happening for you, always happening for you, so that you can truly embody your higher selves in this lifetime. And that will be a beautiful, beautiful journey. And this is something that you've all come here to do. So congratulate yourselves, be kind, be loving, dear ones. And remember, we are here to co-create and work with you and help you transform these energies back to light. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. So that was July energy. Lots of themes. My goodness, it was like boom, boom, boom. I was in meditation. I was getting all these like boxes popping out, bubbles popping out. I was like, okay, I got to mention this. I got to mention this. So lots of themes for you to look at this month. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. If you want a one-to-one, reach out. I have opened my books this year. They were closed for 2 years, my one-to-one sessions. But if you do want a one-to-one, you can contact me by email. The links are below, and we can schedule you in for this year. Who knows how long I'll be doing them, but I'm doing them right now because a lot of souls are needing guidance. So we can look at your soul, we can guide you as to where your soul wants to take you and what you're actually here to do. And yeah, I'll be back. We got the 7/7 gateway coming, the Sirius gateway, stepping into our divine feminine energy and more creative energy. Again, more balance. I might do a video for that. I'll probably do a video for that and bring in the Sirius beings for you to connect with. But for now, I send you my love, and I hope that helped you. And I hope the messages, were, you were able to kind of tune into them and feel into them and see where they're playing out in your lives. And just share whatever you want to share in the comments. It's always nice to hear from you. Okay, take care, everyone, and I will speak to you soon.